so I'm going to do a second video for the in celebration of the upcoming Nashville Boogie, and of course these are all videos that I would typically do anyway, just sort of because that's the general lay of my channel when it comes to vintage style and vintage hairstyling and all of that. But some things have a specific slant towards specific events or just certain occasions. So in this case, I'll be doing a 1960s hairstyle, just simply because I feel like that the 1960s vibe is sort of strong at the Boogie, but also because I feel like this is something people have been requesting for a really long time. This is a Bouffant hairstyle. Now, I've never tried a Bouffant. I've done this style many times, but I've never tried a Bouffant with my hair this length. So this is going to sort of be a trial run for me as well, since I kind of wanted to do this for the Boogie anyway. So we'll see, but what I'm doing here is starting, my hair is cut of course in a bob. It's not layered really very much. There are some layers down here, but for the most part, because it's a grown out pixie, the only real layer is here, my bangs. So there's going to be some kind of finagling with it that we're going to have to do, but it should still turn out somewhat successful based on the actual process that we'll be using. And what I'm going to use today is a heated set. I'm going to be using my Remington tight curls, and the reason I'm using these as opposed to a curling iron or hot rollers, because generally those are going to give you a little bit more volume and a little less curl, is because of the length of my hair. These actually work really well for this type of style. But if my hair was longer, I would probably go with regular traditional hot rollers for this look. I'm also going to use my large hot sticks just for the top portions, because I don't want there to be any dents from these roller clips that come with the Remington tight curls. Just this type of roller clip that you just slide it on. It can cause some crimping, so it's not my favorite kind. But another thing that we'll be doing, and I have this tiny itty bitty mirror down here, so I'm going to be somewhat hindered by that as well. But another thing I'm going to make sure I mention is that this is not on clean hair. This is second day hair. I feel like that's very important for this event, this particular style, because you're going to get a lot more volume from your teas when you do second day hair. So this is second day hair, and in addition to it being second day hair, I'm also going to use a little just pure cornstarch. This is the Johnson's Baby pure cornstarch powder. I'm going to use this right at the roots. I tend to use it a lot whenever, I don't use a dry shampoo anymore because I feel like it has sort of a waxy buildup, but this works so well for giving you some lift on sort of oily roots without having to worry about any buildup. So I'll just like slide it through and then I'll brush it through. And a lot of people are concerned that you're going to get a lot of like white powder on your hair, but I don't feel like it lasts. It just goes right away. So the first thing I'm going to do is roll the top sections. Now, because I have some bangs, and because bangs are pretty 1960s in general, I'm going to just leave them. And this is style, of course, if you do not have bangs and you want to do this more like the picture at the beginning, then you would just simply do this portion from the frontmost sections back. So you would just, everything I'm doing with the bangs, you would just completely skip that part. So even though I have product and dry shampoo in my hair, it's actually still quite flimsy and soft. So I'm going to take just a tiny spray of my Big Sexy Hair, which is a brushable hairspray, before I roll. I have this spray also that you can use on your individual sections. Got one roller. I'm going to just press it forward and then just go with the next topmost section. And I do like to spray my individual sections when I'm doing heated sets, because I feel like I get a little bit more control from my product that way. So if you're going to use hairspray or heat protectant, just use it on each individual section. Some of us just don't like to set our hair at night when we're at an event, so I completely understand that. This is just a really good option for those of you who don't have a chance to do so. Now, because this section isn't as subject to crimping, and it's not as big a deal if it crimps, I'm going to go ahead and start using my Remington tight curls from this point forward. And I'm rolling it up really tight on base to the scalp. On base just basically means that you're getting the roller as tightly wound to the head as possible. It's not going to be dropping below the section that is rolled. So it's important that these particular curls be on base so that you'll get as much volume as possible out of your set. And a lot of people use just a curling iron and do a standard curling iron pin curl set, which that's all well and good, that's fine too. I don't get as good of results from that. And you can also use a wet set for this style. I would use brush rollers or larger foam rollers for it though, because otherwise you'll end up with a little too much curl and you won't get the volume and body that you want for 60s hair. And you're gonna make sure that your hair completely cools down because these rollers are pretty hot. So you're going to want them to cool probably about 30 minutes to an hour. After that time has elapsed, then you can start to take them down, but just make sure that they've cooled enough so that it's not going to immediately relax as soon as you unroll them. So we'll let that happen and then we'll come back and do the styling. Okay, so we're back, and yes, I went and picked up my child at school like this. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to brush through my curls, and typically for this type of style the way that you want to work it is brush, tease, finish. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is sort of shake out the curls, and then you're just going to take any old styling brush and brush through them. And you will start to kind of see the shape that this is going to take. Now, because my hair is cut in a bob, naturally the volume forms around the bottom, and that's great. That's kind of what you want, is there to be volume around the bottom. However, and you'll notice that because of the way that you curled your hair, because of the way it was curled, it's going to naturally curl a little bit out in a flip at the end. Now, I am not a big fan of the bubble flip where it's like such a structured flip as that right there. Not a big fan of that. You can totally do that. All you have to do really is just sort of take your hand and hold it underneath the curls. It will totally turn into this perfect little flip, but that's not really what I like to do. I kind of like to do more of a Gidget flip, which is where it's curls that kind of kink outwards, and then you sort of just let them sort of gather around your ear. That was also very typical of the 1960s, and it totally works. But I am actually just using my big sexy hair right now to sort of cement this particular idea in place. It is not sprayed enough to where it's going to be holding yet. Then what I'm going to do, it's still workable at this stage. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top portion, okay, I'm going to take this top portion, I'm going to spray it just a little at the root, and then I'm going to sort of do some organized teasing. I'm using it to sort of just add a lot of volume. And you're going to pick up another section at the back of that section, spray just a tiny bit, not too much, do the same thing. Okay, and then I'm going to go to this section here, and I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, so once you get a lot of volume going, this is when you're going to start polishing. So you're going to take this kind of a brush. This is a natural bristle brush. This one's actually a bit soft. It's a little too soft for this look, so I might have to kind of work a little bit with one of my regular styling brushes or a comb as well. But I'm just going to start smoothing it down. And I want it to smooth, but I want it to, because my bangs sort of slant in this direction, I want it to smooth into sort of a sideways sort of motion, like a side swoop. So I'm pushing it over in that general direction, so you've also got a semblance of the 1960s comb over that was super popular during the decade. But the Bouffant takes on many shapes and textures, so it's absolutely no rules about it. You can actually look up pictures and find Bouffants in almost every style. And almost every hair length as well. Okay, so you just push it back, and then you'll start to see that it's taking this shape. And the more you spray it, the more volume you can get with it if you know how to treat it. You just take your tail of your comb and start kind of lifting. Voila. Again, all you have to do to get even more volume out of the top, if this isn't enough for you and you want to go full on, then all you have to do to get a little more volume out of the top is just place some false hair or a rat right here, and then you can just put your hair directly over it and you'll have all this volume. So anyway, yeah, that's the back. It's pretty simple. There's not much to it. But that's it. And I feel like that this is something that's like wearable. It's still silly, but it's wearable and it's still fun and quirky. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And if there's anything else that you've requested that you would like to see done, then by all means contact me. I've got a couple more fashion videos coming up, a few other things. So this is something that's just kind of like moving right along with the theme of the Nashville Boogie, but also just those of you who have asked for simple 1960s styles. But yeah, I'm gonna wear it to work. Talk to you later.
The way you chicken pick that thing, baby, make a country boy